We talk a lot about politics on Face the Nation. Today, we decided to look at the relationship between politics and music. John Baptiste is the band leader for The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. We spoke with him about his reinterpretation of the Battle Hymn of the Republic, a project for the Atlantic's podcast, Radio Atlantic.
This song has that thing about it that makes us have a sense of reverence for it. And without even studying the history, you know that when you hear that melody. So for me, I like to keep that essence and then let my subconscious mind go. Free association with things that I'm listening to at the time, something that I may have been working on several years back will come up, and there's no intention other than just to, follow that stream of consciousness.
What's in this essence? What's a part of it?
Well, what came out is a blend of things, which I think highly signifies the American experiment. You have the blend of African rhythms. You have this almost chorale-like chant going on in the music mixed with the gospel choral style, the way I'm singing. It's just a blend of everything that I think, if we, at our best, the ideal of American life at its best is everything coexisting and the great compromise of every element being here and living as one. And that's what the piece represents.
Is there a line that speaks to you really strongly out of that piece?
Wow. His truth is marching on. It sounds the way that a march sounds. Da, 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 da. Something about that melody, it's like one foot after the other. I like that. This victory is not just a victory of now. This is a victory of all generations after us and an eternal victory. There's so many layers in that one line.
We're in a moment now where people say truth maybe is up for grabs.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Well, there's something about the idea of developing your philosophy and worldview that I approach this song with. Truth being up for grabs is something that you think of, but I really think that comes from people not actually being in the same room enough to say, okay, you're just like me. We have maybe different things going on culturally or in our upbringing, but we're all just here together.
You've tried to do that with your music more broadly. Use
Absolutely.
it. And so take it from this song and what you see music being able to do in your work or just in general to create those bridges, because right now we're in a place where people don't feel like there are bridges.
Music will always be a bridge depending upon who's using it. I think music has the power to get people into the room together that may not come into the room with one another if it weren't for the musical experience. And it's pretty hard to hate the person next to you when you're laughing and dancing next to each other.
Do you have musical reactions to events, whether you see something on the street or whether it's an event in the news? Do you react in music?
I react when I see something on the news from a place of empathy. I try to practice empathy. Empathy, I think, leads to music, if that makes any sense. Empathy is something that when you put it into practice, your response becomes less verbal and less physical, and it becomes more emotional because you have to sit back and reflect for a while before you act.
Let me ask you about the idea of restraint. We in public don't have much restraint in a lot of the way people behave, but I think it was Thelonious Monk who in his notes to his band talked about you don't have to play every note.
Ooh, John, ooh, yes. Restraint is the beauty we cannot see. When you listen to music and you hear someone's tone on the instrument, or a beautiful voice, or the sound of the bass resonating with the sound of the cymbals, and all these things coming together. It's like the universe. And then when there's space, it allows you to appreciate what you just heard, and to understand it, and to process it, and then to respond. So space is important in that dialogue. And I think we could learn a lot from jazz in our dialogue right now as a nation. We have a lot of sides going like this, and we have these two predominant sides really pushing like this, and there's no space. It's only my perspective, my perspective, no, my perspective, no, no listening, no questions really, just constantly. Mm-hmm. And to me, that that always leads to more conflict. And I'm not saying I don't have hope for our nation, but I do feel like there's something that we can learn, and sooner or later we'll be forced to learn it.
If you want to see our full conversation with John Baptiste, you can go to our website at facethenation.com. That's it for us today. We'll leave you with a listen and a look at John Baptiste's reimagined Battle Hymn of the Republic. We'll see you next week.